She thought you were weak. She thought her words or actions would break you, that you chase her validation or fall apart trying to prove your worth. But here's the truth. True strength doesn't need to be loud. It's quiet, deliberate, and unstoppable. When you move with purpose and confidence, it shifts the entire dynamic. Today I'm going to share 10 powerful, subtle moves that don't just send a message. They redefine who you are in her eyes and in your own. These aren't about revenge. They're about self-respect, about standing tall in the face of doubt. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to make her speechless, with regret forever underestimating you. Let's dive in and take back your power. No, one, disappear like a shadow. When someone fails to value your presence, the most profound response isn't an outburst or a desperate plea for their attention. It's something far quieter, yet infinitely more powerful. Stepping back, retreating into yourself, and allowing your absence to speak louder than your words ever could. This isn't about bitterness or revenge. It's about reclaiming your peace, your energy, and your self-respect. Imagine this: you've been giving your all to someone who seems indifferent, someone who takes your presence for granted. Instead of trying to prove your worth through endless conversations or gestures, you make the quiet decision to remove yourself from the equation. You don't announce it with a dramatic farewell or seek validation through explanations. You simply choose to fade away gracefully, without anger, without blame. Just quiet strength. Your energy is yours to protect. And sometimes the most courageous act is walking away from a situation where your value is overlooked. By stepping back, you're not just creating distance. You're creating space for her to feel the absence of your presence. It's in that silence, that void, where regret often begins to take root. Here's an example. Maybe you've been texting her, calling her, trying to keep the connection alive. But the effort is one-sided. Instead of continuing, you stop. Not to manipulate her emotions, but because you recognize that you deserve a balanced relationship. Days go by, and she starts to notice the absence of your messages, your presence, your steady energy that she once took for granted. It's not about being vindictive. It's about letting the natural consequence of your absence reveal what your presence once provided. This quiet move isn't about punishing her. It's about freeing yourself. It's about saying, I respect myself enough to step away from anything that doesn't respect me in return. And ironically, that's when the realization often hits. When someone has been accustomed to your light, your kindness, and your steady support, its sudden absence can leave them speechless, perhaps even regretful. But that's their journey to navigate, not yours to orchestrate, as the Stoics teach. Focus on what you can control: your actions, your reactions, your mindset. If she realizes your value, that's her moment of clarity. If she doesn't, you've still won, because you've chosen yourself. Your quiet move, your graceful retreat, isn't just a reaction to her behavior. It's a reflection of your own strength and self-respect. And in the end, that's what truly matters. Know to build an unstoppable routine. When you decide to step away from someone who took you for granted, the focus has to shift entirely to one thing: building a life you're genuinely proud of. This isn't about pretending you're fine or putting on a show for her. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't just survive rejection, but thrives beyond it. Instead of sitting around replaying the past, you channel that energy into something meaningful. Hit the gym not just to look good, but to feel strong, capable, and disciplined. Pour your focus into your career or a passion you've been putting off for too long. Whether it's starting that business idea you've had or mastering a new skill, use this time to dive deep into what makes you you. Every day becomes an opportunity to grow, to improve, to rise above. And trust me, when your life is full of purpose, there's no room to dwell on who isn't in it anymore. There's a kind of power in quiet transformation. You don't need to announce your every move or seek validation. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." That's the essence of this approach. You're not doing any of this to make her regret her choices, though that might happen anyway. You're doing it because the actions you take now define who you are. Picture this weeks or months down the line. She sees you, maybe it's on social media, maybe it's through mutual friends, or maybe it's by chance you're glowing. You've got this quiet confidence, this momentum that's hard to ignore. You're not bitter, you're not chasing. And you're certainly not the same person she walked away from. That's the moment it hits her. The life she dismissed, the man she underestimated, is thriving without her. And here's the beauty of it. By that time, you're so focused on your own journey, you barely notice her reaction. You're too busy building something real, something lasting. It's not about making her regret her choices. It's about becoming so deeply fulfilled with who you are and the life you're creating that her regret is just a side effect, not the goal. This is the quiet move that leaves people speechless. It's not loud, it's not flashy. It's grounded in the principles of self-respect, purpose, and resilience. Marcus Aurelius didn't spend time worrying about who noticed his actions, he simply lived them. And that's your task, to create a life so rich with meaning that you don't even have to think about who's watching. You're doing it for you, and that's what makes it truly powerful. As you take in this principle of building an unstoppable routine, let this be a reminder that your transformation is your message. It's not about proving a point to anyone else. It's about proving to yourself that you're capable of rising above. Now I'd love to hear your thoughts. What's one routine or habit you've implemented that has helped you become a stronger version of yourself? Or if you're still figuring it out, leave this in the comments. I'm building the best version of me. Your story might just inspire someone else to take the first step. No. 3. Let silence do the talking. Silence, when used wisely, becomes your greatest ally. Resist the urge to send that text, to call, or to scroll through her social media, searching for clues or signs. She might be expecting a flood of emotions from you, anger, sadness, or even frustration, but here's the twist. You don't give her any of that. Instead, you give her something unexpected: nothing. Silence has a way of echoing louder than any words ever could. Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is your moment to embody that wisdom. By choosing silence, you're showing an immense amount of emotional strength and self-control. You're not reacting out of insecurity or fear of losing her. You're reacting from a place of self-respect. That quiet move, the decision to do nothing, sends a powerful message. You're in control of your emotions, and you're not dependent on anyone else for your happiness or validation. Think about it. When you stop reaching out, stop explaining yourself, or stop seeking closure, it creates a space she didn't anticipate. Suddenly she's left wondering why you haven't reacted the way she thought you would. That silence becomes a mirror, forcing her to sit with her own choices and emotions. It's in that void that regret begins to grow. Imagine you're at a party, and and someone criticizes you in front of a crowd, the natural response might be to defend yourself, to argue back or to show you're not hurt. But what if you just stood there, smiled and walked away without saying a word? That silence would carry more weight than any defense you could muster. It's the same principle here. By not reacting, you're allowing your silence to do the talking. It's calm, it's confident, and it's entirely unexpected. This approach isn't about being cold or heartless. It's about respecting yourself enough to step back and not let someone else's actions dictate your emotional state. When you do this, you show her and yourself that your value doesn't come from her validation. Over time, that kind of self-assurance becomes magnetic. She notices, she feel the shift. And most importantly, she start to question why she ever doubted your worth in the first place. So the next time you feel the urge to break the silence, remember this: sometimes the most profound response is no response at all. Not because you're playing a game, but because you're mastering the art of self-control. Let her feel the absence of your energy, your words, your attention. That quiet move could leave her speechless. Not with anger, but with regret. And that, my friends, is the true power of silence. No, for glow up without announcing it. There's a special kind of power in quietly leveling up. It's not about proving a point or rubbing your progress in anyone's face. It's about focusing on becoming the best version of yourself, silently and steadily. Instead of announcing your plans to the world or trying to show her what she's missing, you invest that energy into real, tangible growth work on your appearance. Not to seek anyone's approval, but to reflect the respect you have for yourself. Take the time to invest in self-care. Fine-tune your style and carry yourself with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you've put in the work. When you improve without broadcasting it, you create something almost magnetic. A transformation so genuine and undeniable that it speaks for itself. It's subtle yet profound. And when she eventually crosses paths with the new you, it's not your words or your actions that will leave her speechless. It's the stark contrast between who you were and who you've become. That's the kind of moment that lingers, that forces someone to take a long, hard look at what they walked away from. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "Success is the best revenge." But let's take it one step further. A true Stoic doesn't aim for revenge. They aim for inner mastery. Your glow up isn't about proving her wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you're capable of growth, resilience, and transformation. It's about living a life so full and rich that you're no longer fixated on the past, because the future holds so much promise. Think about it: what hits harder? Someone who boasts about their growth, or someone who simply lives it? True strength lies in quiet progress, in the discipline to let your actions speak louder than any words. Marcus Aurelius, another Stoic great, reminded us to waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one, that's your mission. Become the kind of person who doesn't need to shout about their growth, because it's written all over their life. Picture a man who once felt overlooked or underestimated. Instead of dwelling on rejection, he used it as fuel. He started taking care of himself, hitting the gym, eating better, dressing sharper, and diving into books that expanded his mind. He didn't post about it, didn't seek applause, and didn't make a show of his journey. Months later, when he bumped into someone from his past, someone who once doubted him, they were stunned. Not because he tried to make them regret their decision, but because his transformation made it impossible not to notice. He didn't need to say a word. The regret spoke for itself. So if you're going through something similar, let me tell you this: your focus should never be on making someone else regret losing you. Instead, focus on building a life so full and beautiful that their regret is merely a byproduct, not your goal. True transformation isn't loud. It's steady, deliberate, and rooted in self-respect. And when you reach that point, trust me, you won't need to prove anything to anyone. Your quiet move will say it all. Before we move on to the next point, let's take a moment to reflect on this idea of quiet transformation. Think about what it would mean for you to level up, not for anyone else, but purely for yourself. How would it feel to look back a year from now and see undeniable growth in every area of your life? That's the kind of power that doesn't just make an impact, it's unforgettable. Now I'd love to hear from you. What's one way you plan to silently glow up in your own life? Or if you're not sure what to say, just drop this in the comments. True growth speaks for itself. Your perspective might inspire someone else to take their first step toward transformation. No. 5. Guard your energy ruthlessly. Stop giving your time and attention to people who don't value it. If she's been treating you like an option, if she's been taking you for granted, it's time to do something most people don't have the courage to do. Walk away gracefully and shift your focus. Not out of anger, not out of spite, but because you've decided that your peace of mind is worth more. Imagine the power of pulling back. Not with bitterness, but with calm self-respect. When you stop pouring yourself into someone who doesn't appreciate you, you're not just withdrawing your presence, you're reclaiming yourself. And that's where the magic happens. Start saying no to the things and people that drain you. Emotionally, it's not about being cold. It's about being selective. You only have so much energy to give, so why waste it on someone who doesn't see your worth? Instead, pour that energy into the things that truly matter. Spend time with the people who make you feel seen, heard, and valued. Dive into your passions, whether it's your work, hobbies, or projects that excite you. Rediscover the simple joys of being present with yourself, of waking up each day and building a life that makes you proud. When you do this, something incredible happens. You begin to shine in ways you never thought possible. And that quiet glow, that steady confidence, is more powerful than any words you could ever say. This isn't about playing games to make her miss you. It's about genuinely stepping into your own worth. You're no longer seeking validation or trying to force someone to see your value. Instead, you're living in such a way that your value becomes undeniable. And here's the thing: when she sees that you've shifted your energy away from her, when she notices that her absence hasn't broken you, but has actually freed you, it leaves her speechless. It's in that moment that regret begins to set in. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." It's a timeless reminder to focus your energy. When you try to be everything to everyone, or when you chase someone who doesn't prioritize you, you lose yourself in the process. But when you pull back, when you concentrate your energy on what truly matters, your peace, your growth, your purpose, you become unstoppable. Your peace of mind grows, your confidence flourishes, and you radiate strength. Now picture this. She's scrolling through your social media or hearing about you through mutual friends. She sees you thriving, building a life that's better than ever, surrounded by people who respect and admire you. She realizes you've moved on, not with words, not with a dramatic declaration, but with your actions. She begins to see that she's no longer the center of your world. And that realization, it's a quiet but undeniable wave of regret. This quiet move, this shift in how you live and where you place your energy, isn't just about her, it's about you. It's about stepping into the version of yourself that no longer chases approval, because you already know your worth. You don't need to convince anyone of your value. You just live it. Let your actions, your calm presence, and your unshakable confidence speak for you. That's the kind of silence that leaves an echo. And it's the move that will leave her speechless. No. 6. Master the art of non-reaction. Picture this: she's posting things on social media that are clearly aimed at getting a reaction from you. Maybe it's a subtle jab, a photo meant to spark jealousy, or even messages that seem crafted to provoke your emotions. The old version of you might have felt the pull, tempted to respond, defend yourself, or show that you care. But this time you do something entirely different. Nothing. You remain calm, unshaken and detached. No angry texts, no likes or comments to signal you've seen her posts, no acknowledgement at all. This isn't about playing games. It's about demonstrating a quiet, unshakable strength that will leave her speechless with regret. In Stoic philosophy, the idea of anorexia, a state of serene calmness, is highly prized. By choosing not to react, you're embodying this principle. You're showing that her attempts to provoke you have no power over your emotions. It's not about ignoring her out of spite. It's about valuing your peace of mind above the chaos she might be trying to create. This quiet move speaks volumes. It tells her that you're not controlled by external circumstances, and certainly not by her attempts to stir the pot. It's a reminder that you're the kind of person who stands firm, unshaken by fleeting emotions. This kind of self-mastery makes people reflect, often deeply. She wonder why she can't seem to affect you like she used to. She question her actions, replay moments in her head, and feel the weight of her choices. For example, she's scrolling through her phone, expecting you to react, and when she sees nothing, that silence is deafening. It forces her to confront the situation without the usual back and forth. It's in that space created by your quiet confidence that regret starts to settle in. This isn't coldness, it's clarity. Just as you're clear on what truly matters, your peace, your growth, and your dignity. Non-reaction is one of the most powerful responses because it flips the dynamic. Suddenly you're the one with control. You're the one she's thinking about, not the other way around. So the next time you're tempted to react, pause. Take a deep breath. Remember that you're not here to prove anything to anyone. Your silence is enough. It speaks of a strength that can't be faked and a calm that no one can take away from you. And in the end, that quiet move will say more than any words ever could. If you've made it this far, it's clear that you're ready to approach your relationships and your emotions with a higher level of self-awareness and mastery. Let's turn this into a conversation. What part of this resonated with you the most? Have you ever experienced the power of staying silent in moments like these? Share your story or leave your thoughts in the comments. If you're not sure what to say, just leave this sentence: peace over chaos. Your engagement could inspire someone else to take their first step towards self-mastery. No. 7. Pursue excellence in solitude. Instead of trying to explain yourself, plead, or overthink what went wrong, you make a quiet decision to redirect all that energy inward. You stop focusing on her and start focusing on you. You use the time you would have spent worrying or chasing after her to pour into your own growth. Maybe You've been thinking about picking up that guitar in the corner and learning to play. Or maybe it's time to start that side hustle you've been putting off, the one that could change the course of your future. Perhaps you decide to take a fitness challenge seriously, sculpting not just your body, but also your discipline. These aren't just pastimes. They're steps toward building a stronger, more complete version of yourself. There's something incredibly powerful about thriving in solitude. It's not about showing her you're fine without her. It's about actually being fine without her. When you pour your energy into learning, improving, and succeeding, it becomes undeniable to anyone watching. Excellence, after all, is born in those quiet moments when no one is around. When you're working in silence, away from the noise, and when she sees that growth. When she realizes you've transformed into someone she didn't expect, it'll leave her speechless. She sees that she didn't just lose someone. She lost someone who is now irreplaceable. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, offers timeless advice. Associate with those who will make a better man of you. But let me add something here. Sometimes being your own best company is the path to becoming that better man. Solitude isn't loneliness. It's an opportunity. It's a chance to listen to yourself, to figure out what truly matters, and to make moves that elevate your life. And here's the truth: when you focus on your own growth, you don't just move on, you move up. Picture this while she's scrolling through her phone, maybe half-heartedly looking at pictures or replaying moments. You're out there building a life you can be proud of. You're learning new skills, meeting new people, stepping into rooms with a quiet confidence. She didn't know you had. Your progress isn't loud. It's steady, deliberate, and unshakable. It's the kind of transformation that speaks louder than any words could. And here's where Stoicism comes into play. You don't need to chase validation or shout your success from the rooftops. You embrace the philosophy of letting your actions and your peace speak for themselves. True strength isn't found in proving her wrong or making her regret her decisions out of spite. It's found in the ability to stand tall, stay focused, and thrive because you've decided to, for your own sake. When she sees this new version of you, calm, collected, and undeniably thriving, it'll hit her in ways she didn't expect. Regret doesn't come from words or arguments. It comes from the realization that you've become someone extraordinary while she was busy looking elsewhere. And the best part, you're not doing it for her. You're doing it for you. That's the quiet move that leaves her speechless. That's the kind of power no one can take away from you. No, 8 set boundaries that speak for you. It's not about grand gestures or a perfectly crafted speech. It's about setting and holding firm to your boundaries. This is how you command respect without ever needing to raise your voice. When someone has treated you with disrespect, being inconsistent, or taken you for granted, the strongest statement you can make isn't loud or dramatic. It's calm, composed, and rooted in your unwavering self-respect. Picture this: she tries to re-enter your life, testing the waters, seeing if you'll cave or let her previous behavior slide. But instead of rushing to respond, explaining yourself, or seeking her validation, you let your actions do all the talking. You maintain the boundaries you've set, not out of anger or bitterness, but because you know your worth. You're not tolerating disrespect, inconsistency, or anything that compromises your peace of mind. And that's when it hits her. The realization of what she's lost begins to settle in, and she's left speechless with regret. Now, this isn't about revenge or manipulation. This is about something much deeper: self-respect. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control: our actions, our responses, our boundaries, You're not responsible for how she feels or reacts. You're only responsible for how you choose to show up for yourself when you set boundaries. You're making a statement not just to her, but to yourself, that your peace and your value are non-negotiable. As Epictetus wisely said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Boundaries are how you demonstrate that mastery. They're not walls meant to push others away, but guidelines that define how you deserve to be treated. Imagine she reaches out after being distant or inconsistent, sending a casual text like nothing happened. Most people would feel the urge to respond right away, to rekindle the connection, or to try to explain why her actions hurt. But not you. You take a moment to reflect. Does her effort align with the respect and consistency you expect? If it doesn't, you resist the impulse to jump in. Maybe you respond calmly and firmly, setting the tone for how things need to be moving forward. Or maybe you don't respond at all, not out of pettiness, but because her actions don't warrant your energy. That silence, that quiet refusal to engage with anything less than what you deserve, it speaks volumes. And in that silence, she begins to see the gravity of losing someone who values himself. When you control your emotions, when you act in alignment with your values, you create a quiet strength that is impossible to ignore. Now let's take this even further. Think about what happens when you enforce these boundaries consistently. She begins to notice something different about you, an unshakable calm, a certainty in the way you carry yourself. You're no longer the person who chases, explains, or compromises on your values. You're someone who moves through life with purpose and integrity, and that's rare. That's magnetic. Suddenly, the things she took for granted become crystal clear. The access she once had to your energy and presence is gone, and she's left with the unmistakable realization that losing you wasn't just losing a person, it was losing someone who knew his worth. This is why setting boundaries is one of the most powerful moves you can make. It's not about controlling her or anyone else. It's about mastering yourself. And when you master yourself, you create an unshakable foundation of self-respect, one that others can't help but notice. So let your actions speak. Let your boundaries reflect your value. And watch as the regret sets in. Not because of anything you said, but because of everything you've shown through your quiet strength. No. 9. Surround yourself with quality people. Building a circle of high-value individuals who inspire, challenge, and uplift you. While she might be busy doubting your worth or assuming you'll always be the same person she once knew, you'll be quietly surrounding yourself with people who bring out your best. These are friends who cheer for your growth, mentors who push you beyond your limits, and new connections who remind you of life's endless possibilities. This isn't just about replacing her or proving a point. It's about showing the world and yourself that you're thriving in ways she never imagined. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." It's a powerful truth that applies directly to the people you choose to let into your life. The individuals you surround yourself with are like mirrors. They reflect back the energy, values, and mindset you bring into every interaction. Spend your time with people who complain, settle for less, or focus on petty distractions, and that same energy will quietly pull you down. But align yourself with ambitious, kind, and driven individuals, and their influence will elevate you in ways you never thought possible. Instead of sulking or seeking validation, you invest your time in places and with people who light a fire in you. Maybe it's joining a fitness community where you push your limits, enrolling in a course that challenges your intellect, or networking with people who've achieved things you admire. Suddenly your time is filled with rich conversations, shared victories, and genuine encouragement. You're so busy building, growing, and enjoying life that thoughts of the past begin to fade into the background. And when she notices, not if, but when, she realized that you're not just fine without her. You've leveled up to a version of yourself she didn't see coming. Here's the beauty of this move. It's subtle, but its impact is seismic. You don't have to broadcast your progress or post about every little accomplishment. The change in you will radiate naturally through the way you speak, the confidence in your step, and the calm self-assurance that comes from knowing you're building a life worth living. And when she notices the shift, when she sees the vibrant energy you're now surrounded by, the regret will hit her hard. Imagine her scrolling through social media or hearing through mutual friends about your growth. But instead of seeing you trying to prove something, she sees a person who has moved on, not bitterly but gracefully, and is flourishing in every aspect of life. That silence from you, that refusal to chase, is what makes this move so powerful. It's not about her, it's about you. And nothing speaks louder than that. So build your circle wisely. Invest in relationships that bring out your best self. Not only will you elevate your own life, but you'll also send a clear, unspoken message: you're thriving, you're happy, and you're surrounded by greatness. That quiet move will speak volumes, louder than any words ever could. And when the regret comes, it won't just be because she lost you. It'll be because she realizes she lost the best version of you. No, 10. Live a life that inspires regret. The ultimate move isn't about revenge, anger, or proving someone wrong. It's about choosing yourself and creating a life so vibrant, so deeply fulfilling, that your silence speaks louder than any words ever could. Instead of dwelling on what was lost, you channel that energy into building a life that's rich with purpose, joy, and growth. That's how you leave her speechless, with quiet confidence and undeniable transformation. While she expects you to reach out or to show signs of regret, you're busy pouring your energy into becoming the best version of yourself. You're chasing your dreams, achieving your goals, and filling your days with things that light your soul on fire. It's not about making her regret her decision through some grand display of success. It's about inspiring that regret naturally, effortlessly, because you've evolved into someone even more remarkable than you were before. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control: our actions, our thoughts, and our responses. Epictetus said it best: first, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This is your chance to ask yourself, who do I want to be? What kind of life do I want to live? Then start working toward it step by step. The beauty of this approach is that it's entirely for you. It's not about her, and it's not about anyone else. It's about honoring your potential and creating a life that reflects your highest values. For instance, maybe you've always wanted to start that side hustle, learn a new skill, or travel to places you've only dreamed about. Now is the time to make it happen. Instead of posting cryptic messages or trying to make her see what she's lost, you focus entirely on growing mind, body, and soul. You hit the gym, not because you want her to see you as more attractive, but because you respect yourself enough to invest in your health. You deepen your relationships with friends and family, strengthening the connections that truly matter. You start creating, learning, and exploring, filling your life with so much meaning that there's no room for bitterness or regret. Now imagine this. One day she stumbles across your path, maybe through social media, mutual friends, or even by chance. And she sees a version of you she didn't expect. You're smiling with genuine happiness, accomplishing things you once only talked about, and carrying yourself with a quiet, unshakable confidence. That's the moment she realizes the depth of your transformation. That's when the silence you've maintained becomes deafening. It's not about showing her what she lost, but about embodying the kind of person anyone would regret walking away from. This journey isn't about revenge or proving a point. It's about choosing peace over chaos, growth over stagnation, and self-respect over chasing validation. The most powerful moves are often the quietest, the ones rooted in authenticity and resilience. When you live your life fully, unapologetically, and with purpose, you create a legacy that speaks for itself. That, my friend, is how you leave her speechless, with regret, not with words, not with anger, but with the undeniable power of your own transformation. As we wrap up, remember this: the most powerful moves in life aren't loud or flashy. They're quiet, deliberate, and rooted in self-respect. By choosing to focus on yourself, setting boundaries, and embracing silence, you demonstrate a strength that speaks volumes without uttering a word. Whether it's stepping back, building an unstoppable routine, or thriving in solitude, these are not just reactions. They're reflections of the person you're becoming. Let this be your takeaway. Prioritize your peace, guard your energy, and pursue a life that inspires both yourself and those around you. Every action you take should align with the person you wanted to be, not for anyone else but for you. Because in the end, true power lies in knowing your worth and living it every day. If you found this video helpful, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What part resonated with you the most? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if it inspired you, and share it with someone who might need this message today. And before you go, check out the recommended videos on the screen. They dive even deeper into topics like this one and will help you continue on this journey of growth and transformation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay strong, stay focused, and keep thriving.